Today, you are with your specific person and you are in love in every single way that you could ever possibly imagine. Because I want you to imagine for a moment that you are planting a garden. So you have the plot at your house in your backyard and you start telling everyone about this garden that you're going to plant. And you do all of your research. You know exactly what plants or what vegetables and what fruits you want. You know where to plant them to get the most nutrition out of the soil. You know what plants work with others. You talk to people all day, every day, talking about what you're going to plant. They admire you for it. They tell you their own feedback. You talk to other people. You talk to everyone you could possibly imagine about what you are going to plant. But you never actually plant anything. Do you think your harvest is going to be exactly what you have imagined within your mind? The answer is, of course, going to be no. But that's sometimes what we do in the law of assumption. We think about what we're going to do. We think about the state. And I'll be the first one to say it is not bad to be thinking or studying the state, as I like to call it. But there is a point in time in which studying the state is like you are going to plant the garden, but you are just never actually planting any seeds. But how many of us are actually doing this at this moment? I will tell you myself, when I have a great manifestation or thought in my mind that I want to create in my reality, my first idea is to go research it, is to study the state. And I will also tell you, I've fallen into that trap before, where you try to learn more, you try to know more. The state that you are in becomes so comfortable that it's kind of hard to leave it. And so what do you do as an excuse not to leave it? And what we normally do is we try to do everything but. So when we think about the garden that we want to plant or our specific person that we want to be with, at any moment in time, if we do feel like or mentally feel like it is going to cause or be a lot of work, that's what we try to avoid. Your current state is very comfortable as it is. And this is something that we kind of want to be aware of. It's not that your states are fighting against each other, but at the moment, if you're asking, okay, why aren't I already acting this out? The answer is because we're comfortable here, right? It's easy here. It's like driving a route you've driven 100,000 times, right? It's easy, it's effortless, you can do it without thinking. But as we want to change our state or as we want to create something different, that's where then our mind it starts to become more, there's a higher amount of traffic, if you will, right? There's congestion. You're approaching things and doing things you've never done before. You're texting your specific person more often than you ever have. And you wonder, how do I do this? How do I act this out? Your specific person is going to show up to you in ways that are different. And in your mind, you anticipate that you know for a fact, if you assume the state, you're going to create it. And thus the act of knowing it's going to be different, thus can sometimes cause a little bit of anxiety. But in the moment, what we normally do is we hide behind studying or we hide behind words. But keep in mind, your subconscious mind does not listen to your words alone. It listens to the belief behind them. Think of you planting the garden. Talking to people is not planting the garden. Researching seeds is not planting the garden. Knowing what seeds go next to each other is not planting the garden. Preparing this, I guess you could say preparing the soil is still not planting the garden, right? You could have the soil ready. You could have the plots ready. You could have everything absolutely perfect, but not plant any seeds and not have a harvest. And so a lot of the times we ask ourselves, but I don't know what to do, right? That's another secret act of your subconscious mind that's trying to stop you. It's trying to delay you from actually achieving what you want. It's another way to hide behind this concept of, I don't know what to do, so I don't have to do anything yet. So instead of talking about what it's like to be with your specific person, instead of asking ourselves, what should we do? Now, I will say, little side note, it's okay to think and talk about that. That's studying the state, but there is a limit. So instead of talking about being with your specific person, instead of thinking about being with your specific person, instead of wondering what it's like to be the person who's with your specific person or what you would do throughout the day as your specific person, all which are good up to a point, Be the person, just be with your specific person, right? Just plant the seed, right? The seed is going to do its own thing. The seed will the seed will germinate itself. The seed will grow itself automatically. We just have to plant that. So when we ask ourselves, but what do I do? Remember, the feeling is the secret. So we know we're going to feel as if we're already with our specific person. But we say, but I don't know what to do. But I can actually pose you a counter question when we do ask that of not only ourselves, but of our reality. When you are with your friends, or with your family, or with your pets, or hanging out by yourself doing what you love, do you know or have to consciously think about being happy before you are happy, or any other emotion for that matter? Your answer is going to be no, right? You don't consciously think about happy before you're laughing with your friends. You don't consciously think about love before you're hanging out with your family, right? You don't consciously think about excitement when a new movie, your favorite movie, or a new sequel to your favorite movie is about to come out. You don't think about these things, you just are. It's as if something came over you and immediately created the state. It's as if you became immediately a gardener and you're just planting seeds automatically. You're not even thinking about it. You're just doing it, right? That's what it's like to be with our specific person and to occupy the state. But don't hide behind, but what do I do? Now, again, I keep saying this side note because it is really important. Studying the state is an aspect of it. I've seen it's okay to study the state. But you know who you are, that you've been studying the state so long that there's no seeds planted. You know what to do. You know how to act, and you hide behind this idea, but what do I do? But I don't actually know enough, right? You know enough. You know more than enough. If you have been watching this channel, you know more than enough than today to act out the state, like for sure. Like without a doubt, you know what to do. You know what the feeling is like. You know what it's like to be with your specific person. If you had a dream right now, you would seemingly have all of the sensations and all the knowledge and all the feelings you would if you were with your specific person. So don't tell me that you don't actually know what that feels like, because we do. We need to keep in mind our imagination is truer than reality, right? When you're seeing in your imagination, you are seeing into your 4D. Meaning, and I always like this quote to say, you are going to see today's assumptions tomorrow because today's reality was yesterday's assumptions. So what you assume today is what you are seeing when you imagine it, you're seeing it in the 4D. You are physically seeing a outcome that is happening in your future. And I know I say future, the future doesn't technically exist in the way we think it does, but you're seeing an alternate reality. You're not seeing some made up pretend state, you are seeing it. So we don't want to just talk about what it's like to be with our specific person. Think about what it's like, because we do that, right? We get lost in our thoughts. Overthinking is one of those things that I myself have really kind of dealt with a lot. And when I think back to any time or situation or manifestation that happened easier than I could ever imagine, overthinking was never a part of it, right? But that's us talking about the garden. That's us planning the garden, planning the plots. And yes, you would say a good gardener is going to do that, right? But they're not going to indefinitely do that. And the crazy thing is, what we do is we plan all this out. And then when it's like springtime or when it's harvest time in the fall, we're like, where's my produce? Where's my harvest? But we never planted it, right? Most people are quick to say, where's my harvest? When they actually haven't planted anything to begin with. So don't be the individual looking for a harvest that we didn't plant, or the individual that thinks too much about what to plant while not even planting anything. But if you're in that state, don't feel bad. I've done that a lot. I'll probably do it again in the future, right? Because even knowing this, we sometimes fall into that trap. But that's okay, right? When you are starting something new, it is going to be different. It is going to be strange. It is going to feel odd, but it's just a new state. It's not something bad. It's just new and different. So, which I know none of us would actually term being with our specific person as bad, but our mind can sometimes see it that way. So it's not bad. It's just different. It's not uncomfortable. It's just new. So think of that state and you're going to immediately start planting the seeds. So with this being said, if you did have any questions on it, make sure to comment it down below. Remember also, if you wanted to reach out to me on my website to send me a personal question or message, make sure to head over to kyleaugustcoaching.com. If you know for a fact that you are going to stop talking about planting the seeds and plant the seeds today, you're not going to ask, but what do I do? Because you don't ask that when you're happy hanging out with your friends or watching your favorite movie or eating your favorite food. You don't ask, but how do I do this? You just do it. And this is very Abdullah way of thinking. So no more planning, start planting. And if you know you're going to do that, leave a thumbs up on this video. But as always, we are getting to the end of August, which again, remember was the 1,000 people with their specific person by the end of the month. So make sure to keep me updated on everything that's happening, everything going on in your manifestation, because I really like the updates. You guys have been absolutely killing it. You specifically, you are doing awesome with your manifestation. But as always, thanks for stopping by today, and I'll see you in my next video tomorrow.